Alright everyone, my name is Hannah and I welcome you to Tenacious Toad vs Cranx, the third quarterfinals match. Today, your commentators will be Benjy and KLO. How are you doing, my friends?
I'm doing okay. I'm quite excited. We've got I think some pretty tasty settings, and the fact that we're in game 3 shows you that these two runners are despite the seedings pretty evenly matched in all honesty. So I reckon that we are in for a spicy one today.
Definitely so. I mean, there's a big difference in the number of races they've done. I do have one of the trackers has put Cranx trivia here, which is that this is the first randomizer they've ever played. That Ocarina Time was their first Nintendo 64 game, and if they do Valley Lake, then they are either desperate or ill. So we'll need to keep an eye on for that to see if they're healthy.
Certainly.
No, I agree. Yeah. Yes, there's definitely a difference in the number of races. Toad's a much more experienced runner, but we're talking about the quarterfinals here. Cranx has been doing very well throughout this tournament, for only having 49 races on the book.
Yeah, honestly, one of the big breakout players I think of Challenge Cup so far. Cranx, you don't get to the quarterfinals by accident, certainly. In terms of our settings today, Cranx banked indoor entrance. Banned indoor entrance randomizer, Toad banned trials, and we have ended up with Toad picking Dungeon ER, Cranx picking beatable only, and random song warps, and Toad throwing in one chicken as well for the hell of it. And honestly, in terms of settings that I think really mesh and dovetail well, S7 has enlightened me, and I'm sure many others, to the joys of beatable only when you pair it with Dungeon ER and especially random song warps. It can be chaos, but I think they're settings that work really well together.
Yeah, the two sync up very well. And we are off. Let's see what we have for our medallions. Dodongo's Cavern, Forest Temple,
Vanilla Forest,
Spirit Temple, Fire, and Abu's Belly. Okay, so a decent spread. A decent spread. We've got Dodongo's Cavern and Forest, which are low requirement dungeons, but we also have
we've got strength on Big Goron is what we've got, so that's something, certainly.
We do. We'll see what the Big Goron item in the pool is. If it's a claim check, it doesn't really mean anything, but if it is the prescription, you can get tangled in some logic there.
Oh boy, can you. We also had some other hints. 30 was just a Deku Shield, I think. The Skull Mask is dead. And Haunted Wasteland fans, I'm afraid, that's also junk as well. Because it's foolish.
Was that Foolish Wasteland, or was it sometimes for the...
It's a Foolish Wasteland.
Foolish Wasteland, okay.
You probably want a stronger Foolish hint, but you take what you get, I guess. Immediately seeing some divergence. Cranx going straight to Adult Kakariko, and Toad going to go for a child spin early. I think this is probably based on the fact that they start with storms.
They start with storms, and also with the... Yeah, they start with storms, so they get a view of it first. What's in there? To unlock Be Well as an adult, you do need to play storms as a child. Similarly with Deku, you need to have the Kokiri sword to open the Deku tree as an adult as well.
And already we're getting the double Wasteland Foolish hint. We also had a bomb bag on the Colossus left hand, which these sometimes hints are like...
Well, all that confirms for us is that bomb bag is out of logic. That is not our first bomb bag. Because you need to go past the BMOS to get to that hand, so it's guaranteed not the logical bomb bag.
Very true. Normally, even if you started with storms, if it wasn't Dungeon ER, you probably wouldn't be as tempted to open the well without bombs and without Zelda's Lullaby, but obviously it is Dungeon Entrance Rando, so you don't know what's under there, so actually there's maybe a bit more incentive to check it.
And in the windmill there, we did have a Pona song, so that is another dungeon open. With the Gerudo Training Grounds, whatever's in there is now available to Cranx, and will be relatively soon to Toad as well.
50 and 40 are both junk.
So we're going for 20 max today.
And just because it's, it's one of those things where you feel like you should pick up skulls in the way and you'd remember to do 20, but it's funny how often you don't.
I have been burned too many times.
Yeah. Already got a stick upgrade as well, so I think that's probably it for Cranx picking up Deku Sticks in hope of one.
Yeah. Link is under fire in the Talon's house. Get down, Mr. President.
I would also like to thank Toad for going child and going straight to Lon Lon, because that has made me bank.
The other thing is that going child for Lon Lon and Saria, it's 2 faster songs than the windmill, and we do have random song warps, so having an understanding of where those songs will take you and beginning to map out your movement options does help. It does help. I think it's been one of the sleeper settings for Season 7, both the main brackets and Challenge Cup, is that random song warps is something I think very few people would have played with outside of experienced RSL players.
Yeah, or people who just like it as a casual setting, and generally I think...
It's not a setting that comes up even in casual settings. Normally you're going for more complex things like interior entrance randos or hot sanities, that kind of thing.
But especially with...
brutalize yourself.
Especially with required only, because normally, random song warps, you're getting a Colossus warp, you're getting a Bolero warp, you're getting a Nocturne warp, but there's no such guarantee today, especially with Shadow as a stone dungeon. There is hover boots. There's no guarantee that... Yeah. There's no guarantee that actually there is a song that takes us to that Nocturne pad, because we might not be able to get in there because of how the layout works out.
Exactly. It also comes into play with, depending on what's in Spirit Temple, if you don't have child required dungeon in Spirit, I think there's a very decent chance we don't have a warp song that goes onto that side of the wasteland.
Nice for Toad to pick up the boomerang, because we 100% will need that, given that Jabu's a medallion. And was that the winner piece of heart? Speedy spoiler.
Toad has become a winner first.
GG Toad, congratulations.
Is with the boomerang, that's always a nice one to see very early, because quite often the boomerang is a very awkward go mode. There's very little that it locks.
Yeah, it can be pretty much anywhere. It also makes doing some early skull collecting a bit easier, which is nice. The well is in Water Temple.
There we go, so the well is dead. This is what we're looking at with required only in Dungeon Entrance Randomizer. The entirety of the well is dead because you can't reach it as a child.
And that
one
is good info.
That's one dungeon out of commission already.
It makes requiring the Eye of Boots a little less certain. It might still, especially with water as a stone. Again, if you do need to do any checks in Water Temple, the game expects that you have the iron boots, but what the game expects is not always that important.
Even if you can get in without them, you still need them to do any of the checks.
Cranx is now following in Toad's footsteps by doing the child loop.
Yep, Cranx following a really quite standard opening play. Idle Kakariko, straight back child. Sometimes people add in a river, but this is bread and butter stuff.
One's got on my bingo card already.
1500.
Choose on 1500.
Not quite dead. Could be interesting. We do have a Pono. We might not have a bow yet, but that's free explosives. Oh, 20 rupees, but basically free explosives. I think we may see Toad. There we go. Zora's River. Zora's River foolish. I think we may see Toad testing out the minuets after checking these hints.
That's exactly what I would have said. Yeah.
It's Ice Cavern in the Well. Okay, so as soon as we get a bottle, that's a song available to us. The thing about River being foolish this early, do you want to push the hints? No, but we don't have any paths yet.
We do not. 3 hints is useful even if there's no major item there.
Yeah, we've picked up a lot of sometimes so far. None of the stronger hints. It's the duplicate of the big Oron. Still, we have checked a lot of hint stones. It's not like we haven't been going past them.
Yeah, you thought we'd have found something by this point.
Yeah. I'm interested that Toad hasn't checked the minuet yet. Played it. When you play the warp song, it does tell you where it goes. So,
yeah,
maybe,
I think
maybe you don't want to warp there, but it's useful knowledge to know where it is. I've noticed there's, a clean divide between runners who immediately checks the warp song and who doesn't. And in races, I know Chuckles checks them immediately, and I've seen that pay out for him, winning the race based on that knowledge.
Especially when it's required only. I think you need to know that you have the warps are not necessarily going to be where you expect, and they can be huge for optimization. For like, okay, I could be like, I actually need this song to play this song to get somewhere logically, or the only way to get there. B, it can help us, required only. It can help you skip things like Kokiri Sword potentially.
There's our Death Mountain crater. Ooh, it's in the ferry. It's in the ferry fountain.
Don't even need to do the hover boot skip.
Yeah, we do not have a Bolero path. Well, not path. We don't have a Bolero pad warp
Song.
because
Yeah.
you can only have one. You can only have one warp song leading to a location. You couldn't have all of them leading to Kakariko. Let's, to be honest, it was very unlikely it was going to be to the warp pad. Generally speaking, that's only, since we have the hover boots, the only thing that hard locks is the skull. So unless it's, there are only 20 skulls available, there's no need to have a Bolero warp.
And it's so unlikely that there's only the 20 skulls, that you would need that skull to get a required item on 20 event. Like, if it was, say, 30, one of the highest skull counts, there's a chance. It's still not a great chance, but there is a chance. Toe's going to try and do the pot with strength. This is not in logic, but it is possible.
It is not in logic. It was in logic at one point, but then 2 weeklies in a row had it, and everyone got so sick they removed it from logic.
The strength, he's just, Cranx is just about to get it. It's in this Storm's Grotto in Kokiri Forest. Oh baby, what a play!
Are we going to see Strength Pot's bulkier, musclier cousin of Strength Hot Rodder?
You know what? I don't know the last time I've seen any. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone do Hot Rodder strength.
I am aware of it in theory. I've never seen it in a race.
No, it sounds
As chat
awful.
pointing out, we do have the Ruto's letter now, but we can't actually hand it in yet. I mean, that's we hard can't hand it in because we don't have the scale or a way round the boulders in the river.
Yeah, we could. You don't logically. You require a bomb bag for it. You can do it with choose, but we do not have either at the moment.
Just a note, we did miss it with the excitement of Strength Pot, but welcome in Velvet and Velvet viewers. We did steal your entire audience, but you know, you finished your seed. You're here now. Welcome in.
Welcome to Chaos. So normally you'd be Requiem on OoT, you know, the classic Schrodinger's all dungeons. Do you need it or do you not need it? Well, it's random warp songs, so who knows? The chances are probably not.
It's a very scary one though, because we don't know what's in Spirit, and we don't know if Spirit leads to the graveyard. The warp song on Ocarina of Time is very scary in these cases because the warp doesn't have to lead to Spirit, no, but you know, if Jabu is in the Spirit Temple.
Well, it's not. It's in Dodongo's Cavern.
Is in Dodongo's Cavern. There we go.
And you know what? Toad can just beat this.
Yep. Has the boomerang.
You probably want another stick or two just for safekeeping, but
6 is plenty. 6 is plenty.
For these runners, 6 is plenty. I agree. And with this is going to give us a nice early lax as well, light arrow cutscene. Given that we started with the Shadow Medallion.
Fortunately, we do not start with Ruto on floor 1.
If only there was a game mode that gave you Ruto on floor 1.
Only there were 2.
See, everyone's so nice to you.
Oh,
and this is good from Toad, picking up these easy skulls on the way.
Yeah, it's nice for Toad to be able to do this, but Cranx is going to be facing close behind on this. They're going to follow the same route, I would say. One thing to note is that while it may look like Cranx is behind, he's done the first adult loop, which is exactly what Toad's going to be doing once he goes adult.
Yeah, at the moment this is not a case of, oh, this person's ahead, this one's done something that the other person's not going to find. It's just a case of different early routing. Toad going straight child, and then, as you mentioned, Cranx doing adult Kakariko in the graveyard before the age change. Will be interesting to see if Cranx goes for the Goron pot with strength, though. It's weird seeing Jabu being the first completed dungeon and seeing it, within the first 20 minutes, but that's one of the quirks of dungeon entrance rando. I also think Fox is bang on in chat that while we haven't seen any path hints yet, one of the path hints being forest to Jabu is pretty... I think it's pretty nailed on. So far, as you might expect, there's nothing in Jabu. Because when has there ever been anything in Jabu? Disregard all those quals that had like an item in Jabu on Rang chest or something. But generally, I think, given that there's only 4 checks plus the skulls, there's not a huge amount to find in Jabu. It's more suspicious if there is something there, to be honest. Ruto, please. By the way, for people wondering, it's nice that Ruto can kill these stingers, but it's a shame that she can't do anything else. That's true, but that's only because she's confined to Jabu. If you were to somehow remove Princess Ruto from the fish guts, you would find that actually she's got a hell of a weapon back there, because you can kill pretty much any enemy in the game with Ruto. There's a video on, I think it's on YouTube, of Video James doing just that, like putting Ruto in various places in the game and basically killing every boss with Princess Ruto. It's very funny. It's well worth a watch.
Well, we are seeing Cranx, as expected, heading straight into Jabu as well. Now, Cranx does not need to worry about sticks having come in with 17 rather than 10, so we'll get through that boomerang room a lot faster. Shaving off, 45 seconds-ish on this Jabu. It doesn't sound like much, it is early in the game, but there's been plenty of seeds decided by less.
Yeah, the stick upgrade is on adult Anju, by the way.
Yeah, Toad will be picking it up, just too late, unfortunately.
With required only, and with dungeon entrance rando, and random warp songs as well, there's not a small chance that the Kokiri sword is unreachable, because either A, the Deku leads to one of the stone dungeons, so you don't need it, or alternatively, there could be a warp song that takes you behind Mido, so you do need to go into Deku, but you don't need the Kokiri sword to do it.
Here is our spirit medallion that goes to Princess Ruto. Why Ruto?
Why Princess Ruto?
Other than the fact that it belongs to her and it's a family heirloom.
But why Princess Ruto?
Now, why does the person who owns the item get the item?
But why male models? Alright. Here we go.
This is this really is the cousin of Double Forest. Double Jabu.
Double Jabu.
It's not often that 21 minutes in we kind of run out of things to commentate about.
I mean, at least it's done now. Well, most of it.
At least we're nearly at the end. It's a lot shorter than Forest Temple. Toad does have that Ruto's letter over Cranx. Cranx not going for the strength part, very fairly so. It's not a trick that pays off that often, so I fully understand not spending the time doing it, especially if you are a newer runner. It's not a commonly practiced trick compared to your Mido skips, your B1 skips.
Yeah, you figure that you're probably, if you do need to do the Goron pot out of logic, you're much more likely to do it with bomb chews than you are with strength.
Yeah. Here's Cranx blitzing through the boomerang room. A fraction of the time. It's true, but if there is an early bomb bag, then it is coming into logic for Cranx. Quickly. Just a matter of when does he go back to Child Goron City. Rooting in Chalgorn City tends to be somewhat easier in beatable only. Not beatable only, in Dungeon Entrance Randomizer, but we are clearing the Dodongo's Cavern entrance very early. So that's one reason to come this direction as a child gone.
I'm just gonna make
Bombs are on Baronade.
Go ahead, sorry.
Bombs are on Baronade, you go back up, but the chances of that are somewhat low.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see at what point either runner tries to find what dungeons are behind the letter.
Toad missing the quick stun on both Baronade phases. Slightly too early on the first and wrong angle on the second.
No, this is a.
While he may be getting Jabu out
Baronade.
of the way early, while he may be getting Jabu out of the way early, I think he'd be hoping for a better execution on this one. Has been a slow Baronade for him.
It is
done
at
now.
least down.
It does open Light Arrow cutscene as another potential bomb check. Well, Baronade's either the most annoying boss or the best boss. It's the most fun to get right, but it's also the most annoying to get wrong. Second most annoying to get. Twin Rover's the worst.
It always strikes me how big a increase in complexity Baronade is when you compare to Goma and King Dodongo.
Even in the vanilla game, it is a hard boss, because if you think about where it sits, a lot of players are only going to have 5 hearts for it.
Yeah, you've got to do. You're not necessarily going to know that you should be. If you play it vanilla, you're not necessarily going to know that you need to be using your sticks. You won't necessarily know the quick kill strats. Yeah, it's.
I wasn't working that out at 6 years old.
I'll be honest, I was barely working it out at 28, 29 years old, however old I was when I first played it.
It has been pushing skulls a bit harder, but must be glad either way to see that 40 and 50 are dead.
I see some people in chat clearly died of Big Octo.
I'd a big up. Mode making the most of his minor pick. One chicken.
Womp womp. Let's find out what's in the well.
We know what's in the
I
well.
don't know what
We got the hint that the ice cavern's in the well.
We did, you're right. I'm literally looking at it in the sheet.
Unfortunately, we don't get my favourite beatable-only Dungeon Entrance Randomizer combo, which is 2 wallets, path. You get the song from Ice Cavern as a child. And it's
you don't know that.
We do, because you can. Now you've played Storms, you can go in as an adult.
Oh right, yeah. Womp womp.
No, we have had a seed earlier in the tournament. Oh, there is a bomb bag in the graveyard. If we find a scale, that's in logic, but currently it isn't. It can be hard. If someone checks it quickly, it can be hard to work out whether it's a bomb bag or a Deku Nut. Sometimes even a wallet. Toad will be picking this bomb bag up out of logic, and this is another one. This is another trick that Toad is going to be able to pull out with that more experience in playing Rando. It has already had it pay off with the Boron Pot using strength. We'll see if Cranx has learned this trick either. Toad is
I wonder if
pausing.
Toad's looking up a setup for this.
Is Toad looking up YouTube? Are we going to hear a YouTube video come through the stream? No, it's going for the song first.
Fair enough. You can do yourself another logic breaking trick to do some flame storage to get the chest here as well. And yeah, while you're doing that, just open up a little tab and have a look at a YouTube video for how to do it. That is, by the way, within the rules. You are allowed to do that.
Yeah. Not allowed to look up another streamer, but you're allowed to look up their YouTube videos. Yeah, you can always tell when I'm doing it because my performance execution immediately goes down drastically because I'm playing with one hand.
See, this is why you should be bad, so people don't know when you're looking things up, because it's just the same.
The other issue is that I don't mute the YouTube video in time, so it also comes through the stream. It's nice. That's another warp song, which leads to.
Yeah, he's going to check this. He's probably not going to activate it, but he just wants to know where it goes.
Kakariko Village, so not too far.
Honestly, decent for movement.
Yeah, I believe we'll see Toad stay in the graveyard until he's got the item. You know, if it's an iron boots or something, I can see leaving and coming back for it later. Bomb bag is much too big a item to skip. Although we will see the skip of the flame storage trick just slightly too far left. Wrong angle to get through the door. That's a much more fair skip. If you don't know it is an item.
It's harder than it looks.
Good
especially when you don't have a lot of health to get the full setup for it. There you go.
There we go, the pause helping out. And we're seeing Cranx doing the trick as well. This is one that he knows by the looks of it. And this is also a trick that can come down to your sensitivity. Because you do need to creep quite far out to the left. That might be a bit low.
Toad not using his final stick to check the Redead Grotto. I imagine he's just going to go adult here and probably check it on his first cack trip.
If you think about how there we go, Cranx got the trick early as well. If you think about how long Cranx spent as adult 1, now how far apart are the two? Cranx got a much smoother boomerang trick there in the graveyard. Even messing up the quick kill on the second phase of Baronade made up a lot of time in Jabu. Takes out a lot of time with that boomerang room and got the first phase quick kill. So
yeah, the stick grade has done a lot of good work.
Yeah. We may see Cranx not doing the river. We do know this is foolish. Yeah, he's definitely doing it because with that Ruto's letter, you want to go up and hand it in.
And I feel obligated to say, nice rupee count.
It is indeed a nice rupee count. So, Jabu and required only can be a number more dungeons. So we'll see what we get there. It could be a stone dungeon. You know, it could be your shadow temple. It could be your water temple. That's very good information to have because it means you can't do anything in them because you can only get to Jabu as a child. Now, if it is Deku, that could be interesting information as well because if it's Deku, that could indicate that you might need to do it.
Yeah, all dungeons is still on the table.
That is a gunshot effect. Unsure why it's in the game, but it is in the game.
Kakariko to Twin Rover.
to Twin Rover.
All we found there so far is Epona's song, right?
Yeah, Epona's song. I mean, we may well be seeing Spirit Temple in the Gerudo training ground. That's what it is. It's the horse race. It's the starter pistol for the horse race.
I had a thought and I've lost it. It'll come back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burning Kakariko there. So that's interesting. We've got Burning Kakariko and Ocarina of Time as 2 warp songs.
That and in required only with random warp songs. That's an unappetizing proposition.
An interesting hint's going to be any Dodongo's Cavern hints we get. As the light medallion, Dodongo's Cavern could be locked behind Prelude.
The river chest is still a small key.
There's our mirror shield. So we've got the boomerang and we've got the mirror shield. Those are 2 trolley items out of the way nice and early. That's got to be a weight off your mind.
Yeah, depending on if there's multiple bomb bags available, you could very well see a Hyrule Field to Twin Rover hint with a mirror shield in there. You could also, like, normally, obviously as well, depending on where Dodongo's Cavern is, you've got more chance of it being hinted, I think, because there's more chance of you needing an item or a song to get in there.
Yeah, I'm thinking the fact that we know what Dodongo's Cavern's entrance was, which is Jabu, which is guaranteed a path hint. I don't think we're going to see any double hints. I think it's going to be 5. 1 hint for each of the dungeons. Boomerang in the Graveyard Crate is not in logic. That is a loud trick, but not included in the logic.
Yeah,
the only 2 ways to that check are either with beans or with the long shot. Getting to it with the long shot is in logic.
I'd be surprised if that is the first logical bomb. No, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the first logical bomb bag, actually, because there's a decent chance there's a scale somewhere.
Considering it's required only, and we know that one of the bomb bags is not a logical bomb bag, is bomb locked, it's very likely that that's the logical one. I mean, if we've got the entire well completely inaccessible, you could very well just have a bomb bag in there.
Don't forget to get yourself a fish, Toad.
It's my speciality. Walking up to Jabu, turning 180 degrees, going straight back for the fish.
Gaming.
Without that Ruto's letter, Cranx is heading back adult once more. Which is See how much this pays off for Toad? It could be huge. This really comes down to what this next dungeon is. So
this also gets
if this
logical
is
access to Ice Cavern as well.
If this is this is Water Temple or Shadow Temple, it's great information for Toad. It means the Ruto's letter isn't required, because jumping over Kingsword's head as an adult is allowed in this tournament.
Allowed, but again, not in logic. Nice dry cleaning, by the way.
So really, you'd be looking for it to be Dodongo's Cavern, because our other medallion dungeons aren't completable as child.
No. It's also weird to see Princess Ruto there before you go into Jabu.
Yeah.
Into the Jabu entrance.
That's Shadow Temple.
Huge.
So Shadow Temple is dead. All Dungeons is dead.
Yep.
It's great information for Toad to have, but it means that Ruto's letter doesn't put him ahead materially.
The one thing it might do is if there's an item, say, in the fairy fountain, then
It can push Toad ahead now, but Cranx will still be able to access it without the letter.
The other thing is that in required only, there might be a little bit less incentive to... Oh, my word, that's harsh. Thanks, hint.
That's a very good one. Very good. This entire trip, if there's not an item here, this entire trip might not pay off for Toad, depending on where the duplicate of that Jabu entrance hint is.
The one
Cranx
thing
might
that
now get that information without even having to walk in there.
Just bombs.
A vanilla fire temple for us.
With required only, there's and with potentially random and with the random walk-ons as well, you could argue that there's maybe a bit less of incentive to go for a KZ skip into Ice Cavern, because you think, well, it's required only, so if it's there might not be logical to access here, right? So there's kind of no point in me going.
It's true, but with dungeon entrance randomizer added to that, what you say is correct. Means a lot more when it's it's Ice Cavern there.
True.
When you've got your progress dungeons scattered around the world, it's a lot bolder to assume maybe Ruto's isn't required. I mean, you've got what 5 required dungeons, 11 entrances. Fuck it, let's call it 50% chance that one of your required medallions is there.
Very early boss key in Fire Temple. That's the left side of the big lava room, which is just in logic.
Yep, but Cranx does not have a bottle. Only has 3 hearts. We will not be seeing a Volvagia.
Especially not without a hammer.
That too. Who knows, maybe the hammer's just on the left here. Or the south, even. It's a key. So that is...
unnerving.
Yep. It's quite the slingshot noise. Even more Ruto in this seed. Deep Fire is hammer locked, but there's the opportunity that Volvagia doesn't have a key, in which case the rest of Fire Temple's dead. Oh.
You can find one in the hammer loop, I guess. But yes, there is a chance that you don't. That climbing fire is totally inaccessible, which you don't hate.
Oh, it's glorious! It's glorious to know that Deep Fire is dead. Post-Volve Fire is dead. Cranx does only have 2.5 hearts for this crater dip. I guess fire arrows for the mix. We don't have a bone, we don't have magic, but we'll see if this comes in handy at any point.
Yeah, I think Cranx realised he wasn't going to make the timer there, and just took the L.
As Fox says in chat, we found Saria's, so we will have access to Forest Temple's entrance. That is true, whenever a hookshot does appear.
Because there might not, and that might be the only logical way into Forest Temple, because there's no guarantee in required only with random warp songs that we get a warp to the Sacred Forest Meadow, or at the very least behind Mido.
And to be honest, it's very unlikely that we do get a Minuet pad, because you can't get into the Forest Temple entrance as a child, so it's not like you could have a required child dungeon randomized to there. No, we're not seeing Hyrule Castle 3, unfortunately. Toad is not that desperate for skulls nor hints.
There is a piggy back there in the maze.
Cranx falling victim to the mystery hitboxes of these boulders. And our big is... Slingshot.
Woo.
Nice to have. Death Mountain Crater, Path to Ganon. That's Saria's, isn't it?
It's got to be Saria's.
Yeah, we're looking for... Probably looking at a vanilla forest temple. Ooh, just holding on to the ledge there, Cranx.
Heck, this Goron in particular. Oh, that's nice.
Is nice. Then if we do get a Goron City hint for anything, that might push Cranx away from... Actually, no, it doesn't matter. Child Goron City no longer matters, because we don't have... Rooted Letter doesn't mean anything.
Could be the only available bottle, though.
It could. With 4 of them out there, it's
highly unlikely. But
I mean, I guess it comes down to, is there anything in ice? And if there is, what song is it?
I have seen path bottles before, and I will see them again.
And there's the Kukuri Forest Baronade that we were expecting.
Checks out.
And it makes sense to Mido skip here, because you don't know how many times you're going to be coming in and out of adult Lost Woods. And with that Saria's Path, you've got a good idea that you're not going to be able to come back with a Warp Song. Path Bottle for the first hook on pose once. That's a good seed. I've had Path Rutos for 20 skulls once.
I remember a path big Poe bottle for hammer, and all the other bottles were hammer locked.
Yeah.
Like I think bow was hammer locked as well. All the bows were hammer locked as well. So if it was just a bottle, it wouldn't have worked. It had to be a big bow bottle. It was incredible.
We're just going for the much easier phase skip with just a ground jump instead of dealing with ankles. Let's see what song Cranx gets out of here. This is the first thing that could be Saria's locked. It is a warp song.
It's Bolero, which we don't know where that leads. By the way, little surprised that Toad didn't pick up that heart chest, given it would have definitely got him, at the minimum, the 4th heart piece to take him to an extra heart. Unless I missaw it and it was just a regular small chest.
The allure of Ice Cavern is too strong. And our Bolero leads to Market, so that's nice movement. That is essentially a pseudo prelude. As a song for child, that's great because you don't need to worry about your time of day to get back into the castle.
This Crank's going to head over to GTG and find out what's over there.
I think we do. We've seen Cranx do a pretty standard idea of dungeon entrance randomizer, which is most powerful thing to know is where your dungeons are.
Yeah. Especially in required only.
Yep, exactly, because, I mean, we now have the knowledge, and Toad now has the knowledge, that all dungeons is dead, the entirety of Shadow Temple is empty as far as useful items go.
Nice to know where the double defense is, so if at any point you're flipping through field and you pick up the iron boots or the wallet or scales even, you can just be like, you know what, while I'm here I'll just make my life a little easier. There's a big chest.
Do you have something in Ice Cavern? This could be big for Toad. This could be something big with that Ruto's letter actually paying off. Just a hook shot would be very nice.
You asked
There
for
we
it.
are. Hook shot. Then we're only a bottle away from that, so it indicates there's a bottle early in logic.
There's another bow. Both of those bows so far. Actually, no, they're not both bomb locked because you can get the one on Link the Goron with the strength.
Yeah. Or another bow.
Yeah, and obviously because we've got a market warp, market's foolish.
That is not quite Forest Temple in or the Forest Temple access in logic. We would need either a bomb bag or a scale for that.
Another big chest.
Ice Cavern is stacked, so Cranx will be wanting to find a bottle soon. The second ice gives us the Kakiri sword, so that's another entrance. I believe that's the Stone of Agony in the base bit, so...
I didn't peep it well enough, but I'll trust you because it allows me to tick something off the bingo card.
It's not a model that is common, it's not a standard junk item model. Yeah, so it was a Stone of Agony.
Thanks, gang.
So Toad will be able to check the Echo entrance. Cranx is pushing this Training Grounds entrance. Likely looking for the Spirit Temple to fulfill that path. Or at least we will be likely looking for the Spirit Temple here to fulfill that path. That's nothing in the Hammer Rocks in the valley.
Thanks, Toad, for pushing the block. I appreciate you.
Toad Man at my heart. The glitchless jumps aren't worth it. Never worth it. Just push the block. Join me as a scrub.
I believe someone once called them chuckle strats. And I've always said that man has had many good ideas. God, I hate that silver rupee pickup noise.
I've been cycling through different rupee pickup noises to try and find the most cursed.
Sounds about right.
The worried talon noise is also a good one.
If you want to have your own
machine gun, for machine gun technique, Gerudo Thief.
Yeah, no hook shot, but you've got a bow, so.
We're seeing one glitchless jump. And
nice.
Smoothly done.
By the way, if you want to make sure that you have your own personal cursed music for Ocarina of Time, you can now do that because with the release of the 8.1 version of the online generator, you can now input custom music online on the stable main branch.
Along with other fixes and stability stuff, and I think a couple of other features. There's patch notes
Wonder
somewhere.
item shuffle. Ha!
Very nice, very nice.
Well, that's good. Appreciate that.
That is one thing to note, though. That's a bottle-locked bottle. So
it is.
That's one more out of the pool for Cranx to find.
And Song of Time, which probably not your highest value song that you wanted to see there. If you need Song of Time, I think you'd count yourself very unlucky. We know that the river chest is a key, so
it's unlikely that
we'll value for that.
It's unlikely that we'll need it before we find a bottle, anyway.
Smooth 1660.
1660. Almost Cronenberg.
Don't buy a shield. And we knew that was choose.
You knew that was choose, but I mean that's why Cranx is doing it. Push those explosives.
10 skulls, also nothing.
Shield is a big bail in case we find Deku. I was about to say maybe for Toad because Toad hasn't bought a shield while Cranx did. But Toad just bought a shield, so nobody's getting bailed with that shield today.
He's going to go into Graveyard and find... Oh no, the Mirror Shield wasn't in Graveyard, was it? It was on the Boulder of Destiny.
Boulder of Destiny. Not in Hyrule Field.
Hover Boots are in the Graveyard.
Yeah, Hover's on Dampe Race, I believe. Here we have Deku. So this is an interesting one because this is something locked by Kakariko. So this might be our strength 2 we're looking at here. Oh, but it's Big Pose. Okay, so there's a bottle for Cranx. Cranx will be able to push that Ice Cavern now.
They will. They'll have to.
Especially with the Market Warp taking you straight next to the Poe Trader.
You know you're not going to get anything good from it because we've had Market Foolish, but...
It frees up a bottle and you know where Ice Cavern is. This is another big. Deku is just filled with stuff today. There's a hook shot, so... Hook shot, magic...
Everything.
What does say? That opens bombs. Bombs are in logic now. Because you can take that Big Poe bottle. You can take the Big Poe bottle, empty it, get your hook shot out of ice, and use that hook shot to get the bombs in Graveyard. We might be looking at long shot path, or long shot is your way to bomb bags.
You know what? You've talked through it. I see the logic in your deduction.
And
big...
apparently it's impossible for Deku to not have big chests. I think that is 4 out of 5 of them.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 so far.
Not to mention skulls. There's a hammer, so that's another required item.
100% required Deku Dip.
One thing to note is that this makes it hard to work out what's path for Winrova.
Yes.
You know it's Epona. You know it's Epona because there's a hook shot over here in the Gerudo area. But is it magic? Is it long shot? Is it a hammer?
You do have fire arrows and bows available, so it could strangely be the magic for spirit key logic.
Probably should just assume that it's not required. Just assume that it's Epona and write that off.
I mean, it could just be Epona, not even to get in here, but just to get to Spirit Temple.
Yep. So, we have everything for Forest Temple. We've beaten Jabu. We have everything for Cavern. We have everything for Fire Temple. Need a Strength for Spirit, which could be a claim check for the big Auron. Other than that, it's just a matter of where's Forest Temple, where's Cavern, where's Spirit.
When people were pointing out that you need a Hylian shield for Deku, you can't use a mirror shield, I was like, that doesn't... And then I remembered that despite being a literal mirror, you can't reflect Ice Cavern to King Dodongo. You can't reflect the Deku nuts with a mirror shield. You need the Hylian shield for that. That Ice to King Dodongo path, by the way, I think enforces your theory that that's the first logical bomb bag and you need the long shot for it.
Well, can't confirm that until we find out where Dodongo's Cavern is, but there's definitely the case to be made for it. Long shot to bombs. And what happened? We checked. We don't have a lens, so a long shot could lock the lens, or a Song of Time could lock the lens. Get across the wasteland. Yep, could be Din's Fire. It's likely the long shot for the bombs, but we don't know. We don't know where the other bomb bag is, so it's only a best assumption.
Confirmation that Frogs 2 is dead, but we knew it had to be with River Foolish.
My washing machine has knocked something down in the kitchen. That was a loud noise. I'm gonna ignore it. Stay contained.
What could possibly go wrong?
This is actually
Possibly
a very
go wrong.
nice place. Oh no, wait, we've got a Kakariko Warp Song as well, so Cranx will be heading straight to Ice Cavern now. Especially with that Ice Cavern to King Dodongo hit. We'll likely be surprised to see it is the long shot, but I think it won't be too hard logic. Logic won't be too hard to read to know that it's a long shot.
Those darned hitboxes.
Again, boulder hitboxes. Third worst hitbox in the game.
Cranx is going to fire first.
Yeah, you've got a bottle for a fairy now. You've got the boss key. You know, you can warp here, just rattle out Volvagia. Now. You need to do it at some point. Crater to
You
Fan
can-
Ganon, we know that's... But yeah, we know that's Suria's song now, so it's probably Forest Temple in the vanilla entrance.
You don't think it's for the fire arrows? I don't think it's for the fire arrows.
You never know. Wasteland's dead, so... Can't remember if Cranx actually hit the flame storage.
I can't either. Could it be fire arrows for spirit key logic? So, because your only Colossus access is through Spirit Temple?
What would your access be? 1, 2, 3... 3 keys to access the... 1, 2, 3... 4 keys to access the... Colossus. I think it would be unlikely for it to be fire arrows. No.
I think it's unlikely.
It's going to be Spirit Key Logic, if anything. The thing Spirit Key Logic would lock most is the Prelude to Light check. I can't think of any song that... Unless that leads to the Nocturne pad.
There's no
Fire
guarantee... Sorry, go ahead.
Then if fire arrows are locking the Nocturne pad, you need Din's Fire to open that, so I can't see any way it would be... I can't see any feasible way it's gonna be... fire arrows. It would need to lock an entrance, and I can't find an entrance that it would lock.
There's no guarantee that Din's Fire is available in the seed, because the shadow entrance could be Water Temple, which we don't need to do, such as the...
Yeah.
And we know all dungeons is off the table with shadow in Jabu.
Yeah. The only The only entrance that could be locked by a song at this point, that wouldn't already be accessible through Spirit, is Shadow, which would need Din's Fire. So, the Fire Arrows shouldn't be usable. We're going to be covering very similar progress. I don't think anyone's really ahead at this point. We've got very different layouts, but it's just because they've each been doing different progress.
Yeah, it's going to be instructive to find out what's here in Forest. We suspect that it is vanilla.
Has Cranx been damaging Volvagia too fast? No, not quite. First off. Should have the nice one cycle here, though. Yes.
Nice.
I was a bit worried there, because if you damage Volvagia too much with the bombs before they finish their second popping out, then it defaults them to flying.
That's not Forest Temple.
It's not Forest Temple, but it does mean that Child Spirit is dead.
It does. So Forest Temple in Spirit Temple?
Yep, I mean, it could be Din's Fire on Ocarina or Skull Kid, but well, it doesn't matter about the fire arrows anymore, because even if the fire arrows might be required to get to the Colossus through Spirit Temple, you need Sarias to do it. You need Sarias to get there in the first place.
True.
So it's definitely Sarias for access, regardless of. And that is a disappointed Toad.
Gets the bombs from the grass by the hint stone though, so that's something.
As chat says, and I do agree, very fetching colour on the mirror shield.
I like his mint green dry cleaning as well.
Let's clash a bit with opponent's back. Clashing slightly off.
Has Toad not had the market dead hint? Where was it?
It was market dead. I don't remember where market dead was.
Oh, in the grotto. Then he definitely hasn't seen it.
Is about to see it. Cranx will also be getting the knowledge, but neither of them has the strength 2, so it's knowledge only that they're getting. It's not so much bad news, because it's good information. It's good information to know. With Dungeon Entrance Randomizer, the knowledge of where a dungeon is almost as useful as the items to get in it.
It really helps you piece the whole seed together, especially when there's a good chance. Well, you know that some of the dungeons are going to be inaccessible.
Yeah, it helps you piece it together, but more than that, it helps your routing to clear out certain areas from your mind. Toad, with the knowledge that Forest Temple entrance leads to Spirit Temple, may just be pushing an out-logic crossing now. See what's on the other side of the wasteland for them to actually work with. Is considering it's Forest Temple that doesn't have any child-specific checks. It's very unlikely we have a Requiem pad warp zone.
It's huge, by the way, that's the claim check. That saves a lot of time. And you've got to warp to Kakariko, so you would hope that Toad would go and check that at some point. But it's a check that you've seen numerous runners miss down the times.
Yeah, this one's less about forgetting about it and more it's an isolated check. Yeah, you have a warp song that goes next to it, but you have to spend the time to do it. It's not quite no mode. We don't know where Dodongo's cavern is yet.
Yeah, we don't know where Cavern is. We also haven't found Forest, and we also don't have light arrows.
Training grounds was Deku, which has everything.
Yeah. Much like vanilla training grounds. Well, I say vanilla. Training grounds. Vanilla training grounds has literally nothing. The game even makes a joke about what a bait GTG is.
Yeah.
Toad has not done Dampe Race.
Toad went Child immediately at the start. Considering they started with Storms, I'm assuming Toad's route revolved entirely around getting the well drained as quickly as possible.
Also, I forgot to do this 10 minutes ago, but huge thanks to our restream crew. Happy 1 hour, everyone. Go and follow our wonderful runners, Tenacious Toad and Cranx. Our brilliant trackers, Blue Roses, Emerald Mousy, and Bronze Noob. Our restreamer today is HK. And KLO, thanks for chopping it up on comms as well.
No problem. Thank you very much for also chopping up on comms. So, Toad will be getting everything from this visit. Basically everything he needs except Strength 2. As far as I can tell. It'll look ahead to begin with, having picked up that Ruto's letter, and that could have been massive. Unfortunately, with beatable only, Ruto's letter is less useful. Just because there's a lot more likelihood that Jabu just doesn't go anywhere useful. Cranx is definitely pushing ahead now, yeah. But that Strength 2 is big. But I don't think it's going to be long until Toad does that, because Toad hasn't done the graveyard. It should be very easy with a bow to loop archery into your graveyard visit.
You would think so, yeah.
It's a matter of when you do it. Because after Deku, you have opened up a lot of stuff to do. When do you loop in that particular stuff?
Yeah, you can beat fire now. If you find forest, that's fully completable.
Yeah, you go beat Volvagia as the next step because you can do it. You've got the bottle. Although one thing to note is Toad's only on 3 hearts. Cranx did push up to 5.
He's also wearing the
Goron
tunic, so yeah, so he also doesn't necessarily need the timer.
There was a Goron tunic in Domains. That's true. Cranx is missing the Kikiri sword, but Cranx has the knowledge that Ice Cavern is path to King Dodongo. That's where the Kikiri sword is. So that's your step after doing Spirit Temple. Finish Spirit Temple, you go there, and I'm presuming we're seeing Dodongo's Cavern in Deku.
I think that's quite likely.
VR Evolve, it can be scary. It's, one misstep will get you, but we're at the quarterfinals in Challenge Cup. Wouldn't be surprised if someone died. I don't think we're going to see it.
Toad gets the 1 cycle.
Yeah. The 1 cycle's slightly easier with the Master Sword, I believe. Bigger hitbox. At least if you're doing 1 nut, what you need to do is the same thing as the Iron Stick, is have the hitbox count as you're pulling out. That way you manage to get the 3rd strike in. And since the Master Sword has a bigger hitbox, it makes it slightly easier to time. As opposed to crouch stabbing with the Kiri Sword. Old Dodongo's Cavern. Ugh. You can ground jump to the switch, yeah, but you need to do the entire back of Cavern.
I didn't think we had a forest warp, right?
As far as I'm aware, no. Oh, not going for the bomb chews? Makes sense, got plenty of bombs.
But I like chews. They're cute.
I mean, if they're cute, you want to preserve them as opposed to destroying them entirely.
Yeah, I just want to pick them up and then keep them there. I think Toad's going to
We don't
cross.
have light arrows. We don't have light arrows.
We do not.
Yeah. Knowing that Saria's song is Path to Forest, and that the Forest Temple entrance was Spirit Temple, you cross. Highly likely a forest is here. There's the weird off chance that it's it can't even be the off chance that it's forest in the shadow entrance, because we've run out of songs to pick up. Lead there.
Yeah, the only one we haven't seen is we've not had a hint at is Serenade.
Not had the hint at Serenade, but you know, it could be Dodongo's in the shadow entrance. Because we know there's a warp song on Running Cack. Dodongo's Cavern's the light medallion. Wouldn't be surprised if we get your Forest, Fire, and Water medallions first. Speaking of, there's Din's Fire.
Unfortunately, that was not Fire Arrows locked.
I don't believe it was. Although I wasn't paying attention to what the fire chests were.
There's a key on the map chest. Does that lock that?
Key on the map chest.
I know you've been working through your Spirit Temple logic.
So that's 1 fire locked thing in the 1 key locked area. Do we see one in the mirror room? An adult climb? If there was a key in the adult climb, and yes, that's fire locked. If not, I don't think it is.
There was not a key in the rotating mirror room. It was the boss key and a heart chest.
Okay, I don't think that's firehouse locked, because that chest is 4 key locked, not 5 key locked. We would need another key to be on the sunblock room, the other fire lock check, for that to be fire locked.
And we haven't seen that yet, have we?
No, we've not. I think with Din's Fire, we're going to see, we may well see Cranx playing a bit faster and looser with checks. Cranx really is pushing further and further ahead here, just by virtue of having picked up that claim check, doing Kakariko archery just a bit earlier. I mean,
Just able to push progression.
Yeah, it's not like Toad has been routing things that didn't make sense or wouldn't be needed. It's just Cranx has done them in a better order so far. And by better, I mean better for this seed.
Yeah, there's a question about how much of what Toad's doing now Cranx will also need to do, whether he'll need to cross the wasteland and...
Yeah, I don't think we'd... Oh, getting caught with a backswing. Does have the fairy from the trip into Fire Temple, but that's an odd place to get hit. Oh, and getting caught with a double. You lose your invincibility frames during the fairy cutscene, so has been hit twice. See, at least he'd got 5 hearts. If he only had the 4, that would have been an immediate death.
Good point there, that because it's Forest Temple out here, Cranx can re-enter afterwards, and that's a free trip over the wasteland that he doesn't have to take.
Cranx has pretty much a complete straight line to getting to where is Dodongo's from glow mode. We have been talking about knowing everything, go mode, etc., but we haven't got light arrows yet.
We have not.
Dodongo's Cavern doesn't necessarily need to be child accessible, it's beatable only. So, all the dungeons can be anywhere depending on what's in them. Dodongo's Cavern has to be accessible. Doesn't need to be any particular age. I mean, the Dodongo's path in Ice Cavern could still be the long shot for the bomb bag. There's a decent chance that it's the Kakiri sword for the entrance, but it could still just be that as our first logical bombs. And only logical bombs. Dodongo's Cavern is not a child dungeon, and I will die on that hill. It's completable as an adult, it's enterable as an adult, and it has 5 Skulltulas, while all the child dungeons have 4 Skulltulas.
Yeah, there's only 2 hard child dungeons, and that's Well and Jabu.
Yep. And even then, there's still a check in Jabu as an adult.
2 if you're playing with scrubs.
That's true. There is a second. There is a scrub there too.
I'm learning things.
Nuts. Much slower nut strat than just picking up the ones in main, but if you've already left Roar's Wind in there, you can buy 5 nuts. We've seen Deku, we've seen Ice, and we've seen Shadow Temple. Nothing on Twin Rover. You've got to peek though. You've got to peek it just in case it's those lights.
Yeah, the only dungeons we haven't found yet are DC, Water, and GTG, and we know that they're in some combination of Shadow, Ice Cavern, and Deku.
Training Grounds doesn't really have anything they need. That maybe
Unless... Yeah.
I mean, what's inaccessible? Toilet's inaccessible because we don't have the irons yet.
And we've got Song of Time, so we can definitely get into the center.
Yeah,
So
basically, the only places that we don't have access to for the light arrows to be is any of the Strength 3 stuff and the toilet. Or Water Temple, actually. We don't know where Water is. So remembering that he does have small keys, so going up the child side is faster Colossus access. Welcome in, Chuckles. Cranx is pushing ahead, not through any mistakes really, but has done Kakariko Archery, which gave the claim check, which was hinted for Strength 2 on Big Oron. So Cranx has been able to go into Spirit Temple, so is getting progress ahead, but also doesn't need to cross the wasteland, because being in Spirit Temple, you can just jump out and end up in the Colossus yourself.
and he's going to do that very shortly.
Manually cross. Yeah. It's a lot of magic spent, but you've already done all the magic things you need to do until you go to Ganon.
Unless, of course, we need to get into Shadow.
That's true, but that is a decent distance off for now. That's a full forest temple off at minimum. Because we do have 2 warp songs coming up. One on Burning Cack, one on the Prelude. It'll be interesting to know if any of those do go to the Nocturne pad, because if it goes to the Nocturne pad, it indicates that you need to go into the Shadow entrance.
He missed a couple of Sphere Zero checks. He didn't do the Dampe race, which had the hover boots, which you don't need, but are nice to have. They would have saved in time going into the DLC room there, for example. And
I like the logic we needed.
yeah, the check that that he's missed that is kind of costing him the most time at the moment is the adult shooting gallery.
Early route did get him the Ruto's letter. Unfortunately, it's Shadow Temple in Jabu, so it's meant very little.
Yeah, Goron Pot with strength to pick that up, which was good. It just hasn't made a difference.
Honestly, the most fun that's happened this seed so far is it looks like it is Ace Cavern path to the Dongo for long shot to get your bomb bag off of the graveyard crate. There we go, Bear gets it right. Don't miss any Sphere Zero checks, because Sphere Zero is the stuff you start with. Immediately accessible stuff is Sphere 1.
Nodders.
Can still be a Kikiri Sword for entrance, yes. But it could also be the hook shot. The further we get, I'm pretty sure it's hook shot for entrance, minimum. It's only, what, half a Forest Temple ahead in this dungeon? Cranx has the Volvagia fight in hand, has the entirety of Spirit Temple in hand.
Toad has done Ice Cavern, but Cranx knows where that is, and they know that they are expected to go there because it's path.
Yeah. And also doesn't know where Serenade is, so is going to fully complete it. Right? He's not going to bail at the long shot.
No, we know that Serenade's behind Forest, although actually having said that, now that I think about it, he's going to complete Forest and then he can get Serenade, and if that takes him, depending on where that takes him, that, you know, maybe there is a chance that he leaves after he gets one of the items there, but the chances of that mattering are probably unlikely.
It's unlikely because you, at the moment, with what Cranx knows, and to be honest with what we know as well, is you can't discount the Nocturne entrance. You need to be going to all of your song locations. Stelfos being a bit rude there. Went for the old pincer formation.
Yeah, it's one of those times when you kind of wish you had a little more than 3 hearts.
Yeah, I've never been comfortable sticking at 3, 5 minimum.
As low as 5.
6 if I have fire hinted. If I have fire as medallion.
I mean, honestly, I'll pick them up, but that's just because I don't like leaving chests unopened. It annoys me, which I appreciate is absolutely not optimal. But there's a reason.
So what we're hearing,
yeah,
what we're hearing is the next time there's draft setting, Benji is picking chest appearance matches contents off every time.
God no, I'm not a sadist.
Yeah, but you like opening every chest.
Yeah, but I don't know. That doesn't mean that I should get a competitive advantage for it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You get the advantages where you can take them.
Also, I'd have to play standard. I'd have to play standard settings for that, and that's not happening.
That's true. That's true. There's always a superior Triforce Blitz tournament coming up.
True. Now, Toad, will you use the fire arrows? No.
Oh, requires an extra menu. I'll technically 2 extra menus because you want to take the fire arrows off at some point. Rank's relying on a setup for the hover boots. I've usually done it by eye, but have failed it often enough by eye. I can definitely see using a setup.
True that.
Forest Temple looking somewhat dead today. No
Yep.
bigs so far.
But then, given that this is quite deep in logic, and we're required only, not necessarily a huge surprise.
It kind of is because it wasn't hinted. We have had no dungeons hinted foolish. I think you're allowed 1 dungeon hinted foolish in season 7. Or is it 0? I forget.
No idea.
I need to go look at Jason, and I'm not doing that during commentary. Digging into Jason's my last resort. Yeah, I believe it's maximum 1 hinted foolish dungeon. Because the dungeons have so many checks in them, it should be more likely that if there is a foolish dungeon, you're going to get it. Especially Forest Temple, it has 8 items, that's quite a lot. Considering we had Wasteland hinted, I'd like to think that the area with 8 foolish items is going to be more of a priority. Scale on Phantom Ganon? Well, the scale is going to be bomb locked somewhere. I mean, the logic I'm reading in this seed at the moment is that these scales are bomb locked, so that your long shot can be path. Your bean access is going to be locked. Lens? I don't think we're going to see lens. It might be, actually, there's a decent chance it could be lens. Yeah, Saria's path. Lens is a good shout. Lens over here. Yeah, because this is the one that's in Spirit Temple. Honestly, if we see a big chest, my bet's on lens. Thing is, since scales aren't around, you've got a lot of scope for inaccessible locations. But the entirety of Shadow Temple and the entirety of Well, that's what 12 and 11.
Potentially the entirety of Water Temple.
So that's 33 item locations that are inaccessible from Shadow and Water alone. Yeah, what key there. We've got another 4 items potentially locked in Spirit. It's a lot of inaccessible locations that could hold our bomb bags, could hold our strengths, could hold our scales. This is a seed that the Shadow of Required only hangs over quite a lot. Which is something you do see quite often with the Dungeon Entrance Randomizer compounding it.
Nice PG there from Toad. Cranx has done the bow chest after defeating the first Poe, and now after Poe comes Lala, and then obviously Dipsy and then Tinky Winky. Yeah. Nope. Foolish Forest, everyone.
Foolish Forest. As I said, you've got, what, about 37 item locations there in dungeons alone that would be foolish.
Is Nocturne our Market Walk? Or is that Bolero? Well, there's the answer.
Yeah, Burning
So maybe this is the time when he'll check Tenty Skulls. Maybe he checks Archery here as well?
Yeah, Archery and Graveyard, I'd bet he's aiming for.
20 also absolutely out.
Yeah, it makes sense to have pushed Forest first to grab those remaining skulls so you can package these all together.
Just about got there in time.
Sensitivity hurting a little bit here.
And there is Toad thinking, I've had that in logic for a while.
Yeah, it's not something you want to see, the Strength 2 coming up in an early sphere location that has a warp song next to it. If anything that's going to make you feel behind, it's that. Especially when there's a warped crater. Crater and Kakariko.
Cranx doing the Dipsy puzzle. He's going to turn in Strength 2, then either go to... I guess while you're here, probably you clear fire and then off to Spirit Temple in Forest. While Cranx goes to Ice Cavern. maybe after getting the song. They both now have the Prelude check available, having picked up the Forest Medallion, which was vanilla. Letters in the Goron pot. Toad got it with Strength. Shadow was in the well, so it hasn't got us anything there. We haven't seen Ice Cavern, just because it's a bit of a schlep, to be honest. And you're kind of hoping that you just don't need to go out there, right? You know, you've had Kokiri sold in a path location for Toad, so you'd certainly, I think, be more likely to check Deku before you go out to Ice Cavern. Did I not say Shadow and Jabu? Did I say something else? Only what I meant to say.
Yeah. But the other thing about Ice Path there is that it could still just be for the long shot. And I think
it could, and it could also be that. Yeah.
Because of the sheer volume of locations that are inaccessible today. All of the Shadow, all of the Well. Having both Scales and the other bomb bag inaccessible really isn't that far a shout.
At this point, Toad's not even going to bother with the hammer loop, just thinking, if I can just go straight to Volve, that suits me down to the ground.
Is Toad now in go? Other than the light arrows. Maybe not logically, it doesn't have the hover boots, doesn't. Should be able to get everywhere. We don't know what the requirements for light arrows are yet. There's a lot of places we haven't actually been.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've not seen any of Ganon's castle. We haven't seen... we're not going to see anything in Shadow or anything in the world. We've not seen what's inside Shadow Temple. We might not get a chance to see what's in there, because there just might not be a warp song, right? Required only.
Yeah, it's possible Cavern is in the Shadow entrance. I highly doubt that he doesn't pick up Din's, considering Din's is in Shadow, the Spirit Temple.
Yeah.
With the Din's outstanding and with the light arrows outstanding, it would be a bold play to rush through dungeons. Overly bold, in my opinion. Oh right, Chuckles, I thought you were just wishing a loss on Toad. That was standard toxic. Shadow Temple is in Jabu, yeah, so that's why we worked out that A, all dungeons is dead, and B, the entirety of Shadow's out of commission. Yeah, a lot of stuff that's unavailable, and that's how we like Dungeon Entrance Randomizer and Beatable Only Scenes, because it results in weird and wonderful logic, like Longshot is path to bombs in Graveyard. Zaria's song is path to the forest to go through Spirit Temple.
Toad not having as swift a Volvagia as Cranx did.
Bonus song path to Rova to get into Deku and Gerudo Training Grounds, which had every item.
What do we have in there? Magic, hammer, hook shot.
Magic, hammer, one of the hook shots.
Bottle, big pie bottle.
Yeah, your big po bottle. Now, really, this is a question of when does Cranx go Ice Cavern?
He knows he has to. He knows where it is.
Yeah. I mean, you do Colossus now because you don't know when you're going to be back here. See anything for him to do other than go straight to Ice? He's already played Storms, so it's open. Started with Storms, so that was the first thing we did. That's why Toad started off by going Child. Well, you'd never check the Ice Cavern entrance first. A, because that's a pain in the arse to get to. But B, you've got Ice Cavern hinted. Directly hinted path to King Dodongo, which is your last dungeon. See, the thing is, you would go to your hinted location because you don't have the Kakiri sword, and that's an entrance an entrance that you can't get to. I would say you'd go to your hinted location first.
Here's Toad checking Prelude, and that's a Colossus Warp, which is no good after you've already beaten Forest, which is out in Colossus.
Yeah, which again goes to explain Arceria's song.
Yeah, and there was no guarantee that we had a Colossus Warp, but turns out that we do.
Yeah, it's probably not even the pad, it's just Colossus to rub it in. Although we aren't seeing a river play by the looks of it.
Maybe he is going to ice.
Maybe they are going to ice.
Maybe he's thinking, actually, if DC is in ice, I can just completely skip that.
It's bold when you've got two other dungeons there that could have Dodongo's Cavern. Pushing the one that is quite literally the furthest away. That's potentially a lot of time you're eating.
I'm 100% with Poison Powder there. I would certainly I'd pick up Serenade first from the Prelude check, just in case there's, it might be a Domain or a Fountain Warp.
Super unlikely DC's in Shadow. Well, I mean, we don't know until we check Serenade.
That's the other thing as well, because if Serenade takes you to the graveyard and DC's in Shadow, well then, great, you can just do that. And Cranx is going to cheat his way into Domain.
Not with that angle, I don't think.
Although with the time he's taken to set this up, he could have just played Lullaby.
Yeah. It did work though. It's not a setup I've ever seen, but... I think even with this trip to ice, if this isn't Dodongo's Cavern, Cranx still has extended enough of a lead that it's going to narrow things, but not punish him.
Depends. Like, there's until we get the light arrow hint.
Yeah. I mean, for all you know, you might need to come back here. Because if this is training grounds, that's a lot of items that could have
Bonk.
lights.
Why the Ingo Silver Rupee sound? It just goes up in pitch. It's quite specially cursed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. The Redead moan increasing in pitch is good as well.
There's your KZ skip. We've not had a hint about Fountain, so there could be something on the iceberg or in icy waters.
The only thing we could be looking for is lights. Cranx might be
Correct.
looking for the Kakiri sword as well, but... Quite frankly,
check
I'm
the entrance first.
unsure why he's not in Ice Cavern at the moment. He's picked up the hint.
Yeah, he was taking the 1 in 3. If it's DC out here, then I'm golden.
Yeah.
It was not.
Pushing a 1 in 3 when you have a hinted location is off.
Bold.
Unless there was the hint. It was. Let me check the tracker. Greater Wall and Colossus. He's just come from Colossus, so I would think he's checked for a King Dodongo hint there. Can't imagine that Cranx hasn't seen the Ice Cavern is hinted.
However, now he knows that he's not going to need Ruto's letter, which is great news for him. It's one less item for him to potentially have to find. I didn't see him peek the iceberg or what was on icy waters. Or check that fairy. Which I'm confused about. I guess because he feels, well, he doesn't have letter. I know with that hint, it tells me that Shadow's in.
He's gone that far out of the way. Didn't check the locations.
I guess he's seen water waters for dead AD. Huh, and that's what we were talking about. You could just be.
So that is the shadow entrance dead. Really aren't that many locations that can be there. Only training grounds left that can be in shadow entrance.
Yeah, I think it has to be training grounds because we know we need to do DC, so there has to be a warp for it.
Yeah, and that's another 13 items that are inaccessible.
I'm thinking that Cranx has gone there because he hasn't drained the well yet.
Warping to domain.
Into the shop, no less.
I'm not entirely sure what Cranx is looking for at the moment.
Yeah, this is interesting to me.
It's definitely giving Toad a lot of time to catch up, though.
Maybe he didn't check the Colossus hint. I don't think he checked the bombable wall because he was low on time. So maybe he hasn't seen the ice cavern path. He did the grotto and then he went down to collect the fire arrows in the wall, and then he voided out because he was low on time. So I don't think he ever went to check the hint. He didn't have a Goron tunic at that point, and he didn't have that much health.
It would be bold to skip the hint Colossus if you don't have your King Dodongo hint, and King Dodongo is the only place you need to go.
That's all I can think.
It's definitely lightening the color for Toad.
The only thing I can think for why he didn't check the iceberg or the fountain is that he got the hint to say that Jabu's in shadow, and he saw that water's in ice cavern, and we've not seen hide nor hair of iron boots or even scales to do stuff out of logic. So he's thinking, actually, there's a good chance that this part of the map is just inaccessible. So doing checks here is just lost time.
He now has the information that the shadow entrance is dead. That can be worked out from Cranx's current information. Has all 5 warp songs and knows Requiem can't be done.
So he should know that he's just Kokiri Sword from glow mode.
Hasn't seen the ice in the well hint. Definitely has, because the first strength was in the same grotto.
There's a hint in Sacred Forest Meadow as well, so he's 100% seen it.
Crater? Is hint searching?
I think.
Algorn City, okay.
Yeah, he'll get letter now, and that all of a sudden puts the checks that he left in Fountain back on the table.
And Saria's was path for something, so...
Not for that.
Not for the arrows. We know what it is, but... Has lit the torches here. He's only now coming in with the bombs. I don't know if that got him. It did not.
That was clean though. First try on the Goron pot.
That should be on more often. Honestly true.
I think Collapse should have been a draftable minor setting.
It keeps in with the spirit of the vanilla game.
Like, if you can draft, like, open fountain, open Deku, why not put Collapse on? Hey, Closed Door of Time's a major setting, right? So anything goes.
It was originally a minor setting, so...
And I know why Closed Door of Time is a major setting, because it interacts nastily with other major settings. But I think that's the one where people have the most debate about. Is that really a major?
I just like it because it just means that you only get 4 pathings. So one of your pathings is just dead.
Or alternatively, you just start with Song of Time and it's useless.
Honestly, they're coming up to level now. With this age change, I think Toad might be ahead. Yeah. With the age change, who's ahead now?
Toad's gonna have to, obviously, is gonna have to age change to get past Mido.
It is, but which one was it? Yeah, Cranx is gonna have to go adult and then child again. So while Toad has to age change once, Cranx has to age change twice because Cranx can't do enough of ice to get the Kukiri sword as child.
We might be seeing the back of the lake hints here. I think he's searching for the King Dodongo path. If I had to guess. We haven't seen Evolve Agia path, which we know is out there somewhere. Not that we care about it at this point.
I mean, let's be honest, it has to be Deku because everything is in Deku.
I mean, if it's not Deku, I'd be surprised. It could also potentially be Graveyard for the hover boots, but it's almost certainly Deku.
It'd be Domain as well. There's a very, very likely that all of our wallets are just stuck out of the way as well. I mean, with 11 items in Well, 12 items in Shadow, and 13 items in Training Grounds, you're looking at 46 items out of the way.
What was the notes Cranx gave us? If he plays Valley Lake, then he's desperate or ill.
It's true. We'll leave it up to the viewer's imagination to work out which of the two.
I mean, who knows? Light Arrows might be here, right? So this might be required, but I agree. I don't know why he's not gone to Ice Cavern in the Well. It's possible that he's just not he's just not written it down, or he's just forgotten about it.
Yeah. I can only imagine it's mistracking at this point.
Yeah, with required only sometimes, and with Dungeony art, like certainly there's settings where you can get lost in the source. In the previous 2 races, Toad won Game 1, where the majors were Open Bridge and Scrub Shuffle, and Cranx won Game 2, which was Dungeon Tokens and 3 Trials. Oh, there's the scale. So
that, I guess that guarantees it was Kukiri sword path.
It does indeed.
Well, that confirms the logic. We were already in logic. That now confirms the logic. Yeah. I mean, confirming the logic at this point doesn't matter, because even if we were wrong, it still fits.
I think Toad's going to check Richard the dog, and then save quit to get to Kukiri Forest.
I don't see any reason to go to Kukiri Forest when you don't have the sword.
Toad does have the sword.
Oh, I thought you said Cranx.
I might have said Cranx. I meant Toad.
Sub 2 hour Richard. You love to see it. We're rocketing through this one. picking up bomb chews, I'm presuming in case of Spirit Trial. The only thing I can think of needing a bomb chew for. Oh, I want to talk about using bomb chews to drop the skull.
That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to go mode DC, and then if he has to go back there, well, so what?
Yep. And to answer the question from chat earlier, I highly doubt we're going to see a child Goron City. You need to do an age change to go to Gan's Castle anyway, so do it now and just do it as child. Do it as adult.
I think it's always important to remember that obviously, that we're seeing both races' perspectives. So we know that we've seen all the hints, we know where the items are, so everything, like, it's a lot easier to add up all the logic in your own head. Whereas obviously the runners only have seen what they've seen, and sometimes you mismark something, you don't track it, or you do, and you just sometimes stuff just doesn't click right. So for us, we know exactly what the players are all the time, but then we are omniscient, and the runners are not.
Something to know that I don't know. Is the bomb chew strat the same as child? I mean, this is the reason I wouldn't do. This is the reason I wouldn't do child Dodongo's Cavern in this case, is because I don't know if the chews are the same. They are the same? Okay then.
Well, there's 2 chews down. Yep.
He did save, but each fail is going to eat time. Although, at this point, I don't think...
He's got time to save.
Yeah, I don't think...
To lose, even.
Time matter too much.
Are we going to see Toad do a second YouTube dip?
We're going to see another one. How many YouTube videos are out there for
Child DC?
Child DC bomb chew setups?
Probably at least one.
I was doing it as child because there is no easy way back to Deku as an adult.
There's no warp song that takes us anywhere to this side of the map. The closest would be Domain, and then going through the shortcut. The problem is that Toad doesn't have a scale or iron boots, so he can't use the shortcut.
It would definitely be a very fast thing to do child Dodongo's Cavern if setup was working as child. I know the jump slash one won't work because the Kokiri swords isn't the same size.
Would it work with a stick?
I think so, because your legs are different sizes too.
Happy 2 hours, everyone, by the way.
Happy 2 hours. Happy second YouTube dip by the looks of it.
Shout out to our runners, Tenacious Toad and Cranx. This game is still very much in the balance, even if it feels like... I mean, at the moment, Toad's in a better position, but until we find the light arrows, or we get the light arrows hint, there's still potentially a long way to go in this seed. The trackers who make us look ever so clever, Roses, Blue Roses, Emerald Mousy, and Bronze Noob. Does Hell Knight still have his own command? He does, he's our restreamer today. And thanks to KLO, who's I'd say co-comming, my partner in crime today on the mic.
Yep, it has been quite a seed with so much of the game dead to the world.
Yeah, depending on how quickly Toad gets this set up, we could potentially be, if light arrows are just in the vanilla Ganon boss key chest, like we could be 15 minutes away from done, or we could also be we could be an hour and 15 minutes from done, depending on where the light arrows are.
Yeah. I think Season 7 has definitely swayed me around to Dungeon Entrance Randomizer, especially with a combination with some of the other majors. Mixing it with Open Fountain, mixing it with Open Deku. Particularly, in my opinion, mixing it with Beatable Only.
Beatable only, random warp songs as well is great. Like we've got today can be a good laugh. At this point, I'm kind of surprised that we're not that Toad hasn't just gone adult. Yeah, Lights and Light Trial. Potential. We know that GTG's off the table. We've seen Water. We can't do anything there because we've not got Gold Scale or Iron Boots. But
we don't
Toad
really need
for the setup from the other side.
We don't
And the
really
really
need
seen
gold scale for much. The gold scale's for
HC3.
entrance.
It's
Do
domain
stuff.
12. That's the worst of the hints.
Yeah, that's the tunic. I mean, just
Cool.
confirms that both our wallets are away. Out of sight, out of mind. Bolero. Which one was the warp to Colossus?
Prelude.
Prelude, yes, because it was played in the Skull House. Cranx is going for the fountain hints. He's gone for the Hyrule Castle 1, 2, and 3 hints.
You got one of the eyes.
Yep, replaying the video. Don't worry, I was here in one of my league asyncs as well.
If it was League, why not just use the blue fire arrows?
What to?
I don't know. The
Dodongo?
answer is because blue fire arrows don't do the Dodongo eyes. I just think it's neat.
Yeah, they melt the walls.
Do you think this is sunk cost fallacy now for Toad?
I think so. I'm afraid you can't light up the nose.
My dude, please just.
And menu noises too. It's checking the remote grotto by the looks of it.
No, he did that. I think he's doing Adult Lake.
Adult Lake, did we see setting up the Scarecrow as child?
He did set up Scarecrow as child.
Okay. You must have marked it as something else. There's nothing else to mark it as. Mark it as Ice, or you mark it as Dongo's Cavern. Those are the only two dungeons left. Moving back to the other video. You know, I've never noticed that there's a gap underneath the skull that the lava's flowing out of. One area you really look at, though.
No, true. Toad, I know it sucks to give up on opening the door as child with the bomb shoes, but I think at this point,
Oh, I mean, the commitment to the bit is admirable. very keen fish on Cranx's side there.
The thing is, he knows he will have to go adult after he does this, after he does DC anyway. So it's not like it's adding in extra age changes.
He is being, unfortunately, gifted this time at the moment. How long has Toad been attempting to shortcut DC? Anyone got the 84 years gif?
Yay!
There we go. Must have got
Someone
a good
put in
YouTube
the
video.
Pokemon XY. It's been 3,000 years. GIF.
Now we're officially in glow mode.
Oh yes.
Not only did we find the bomb bag, not only did we find the scale, we found the YouTube video.
Where was the YouTube video? Which check?
Oh, if light hours are in Dodongo's cavern and he has to walk back here as adult anyway. I'll enjoy it, but not in a good way.
Sicko's mode intensifies. The only reason you would not go adult and do it is because there's not a warp to Kokiri Forest. You'd have to go to Death Mountain Crater, but at that point, it's not going to add that much extra time.
Yeah, it's a lot faster to do the bomb chew trick and do this bit as a child.
If you get the bomb chew trick first try,
yeah,
then
if you
absolutely.
Get the bomb chew trick is the important part of that sentence, though.
And if you don't do it, then it's a sunk cost fallacy, and also you can't lose face on restream. Come on, guys.
It's true. Everyone's watching.
Everybody saw you do that, etc. Oh no, your shield!
I'm impressed, Toad. I'm impressed that you did it.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen someone do it, so he gets props from me.
Yeah. You don't have nuts out, though.
Wait.
Luckily, this time, has 20 sticks. Doesn't need to worry about stick management. It'll be hard anyway, you don't have Ruto for this fight. We have nothing towards light hours at the moment.
When is Ruto being added to the item pool at Game Devs?
Only hint we have towards light arrows is that probably about 30% of the checks in the game are inaccessible. The entirety of Gerudo Training Grounds is inaccessible, the entirety of the well is inaccessible, and the entirety of Shadow Temple is inaccessible.
And it's possible that, depending on where the item layout is, the entirety of water is inaccessible as well.
Yeah. Depending where water is. Not water, where irons are.
Irons are all the other scale.
We can do almost all of Water Temple. Just can't logically do it.
Oh, nice.
You don't.
Free half an hour. That's all the time he lost on the Bonchu setup. I wonder if at any point Cranx has thought, you know what, if it's in the well, then I've obviously just, I've missed it and there's no way I can catch up, so I'm now going into Deep Fire because Toad wouldn't have done there, and he's metagaming it a little bit. I don't know.
Metagaming makes sense if he was making some bold calls. This is really quite far out of the way.
I mean, I agree with you.
These are not. My opponent hasn't done these checks. These are. I've
got no idea. Yeah. Did he open the? Did he ever open the well?
Yeah, in Child 1, right at the start. I think that might be where the memory holding starts, is just because you started with storms and it was so long ago. Oh yeah, you side hop right in Temple of Time.
Oh god, I'd never even considered that you could side hop left. Genuinely, the thought never crossed my mind.
Only sociopaths go left. It's like the people who put the bottle on C right. Ganondorf fight.
Oh god.
Just wrong. It's just wrong.
But then I think people who don't put hookshot on C left are weird, so...
Hookshot on C right, boat on C left.
Disgraceful.
Whether you side hop left or side hop right, the people you really have to admire are the ones that backflip.
Swag strats. I mean, the real strat is to not side hop at all and just walk forwards.
No, Oxydude coming in with the real facts. Bottle goes on B.
True. That's definitely legal.
Looks good on restream though.
If you do it just for swag, it's legal, and you don't actually do any checks with it, it's legal, right?
No. I got told in Season 6 that if I move King Zora and then King Zora skip, never got an answer as to whether I'd get banned.
What if you move King Zora and then you do the clip past him? Is that legal? I know the answer is no, don't. And also, I think we proved from that GDQ run that it's Frank Z on B.
It is interesting that we don't have lights, because there really aren't that many places. I'm expecting an inside Gan's castle. Hint. Would also having picked up a fairy in Fire Temple.
You didn't necessarily need one with the Goron tunic, but it's just nice to have, especially when you have not picked up a lot of health.
Volvagia does 3 hearts per hit, as well as the boulders if you mess up and have the second phase start.
Dynalphos dispatched, Stalfos slain, time to end the Spice Girls reunion tour. This is so much. This is where you love having Big Goron.
Yeah.
He does not have a ferry for that though.
No. Got the angle slightly wrong on the roll through, unfortunately. You don't actually need the roll through with the Big Goron sword. If you get slightly further back, you don't need to move at all. You just whack B until they die. Because you can get the 3 hits in before they've turned around. The roll through strat that we saw Toad trying to pull off there, that's the setup for using the Master Sword. Cranx, I'm not sure what Cranx is. Was there a key down here?
There must be.
Thought we were stuck here.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there is a key. There is a key. We can get to the compass chest. Highest Goron. Freckles, it's because he remembers what items he has.
Big if true.
Abdive is probably worst case scenario. I did find a scale.
Yes. Toad hasn't found a scale. K-Sword's in Ice Cavern, where which is hinted path to King Dodongo, but Cranx didn't get the ice to King Dodongo hint, and he did very well to dodge it. And he's obviously not in my castle.
Zora's Domain, it's on King Zora. That's nice. Well, it wouldn't be nice for me because I would guarantee forget to pick up the blue fire from water trial. Which you don't need to do because you got a blue fire from the Iron Boots chest.
You did.
So
if you didn't empty that,
it should still have blue fire in a bottle.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Gaming.
Good to remember that you had them there.
Nice bait.
That's not bait. Unfortunately, Cranx can't get it at the moment because he hasn't gone to Ice Cavern to get Song of Time.
He has not. Do you need a key to do the hammer loop?
Yes. Oh, you don't. You go the other way.
Not the hammer loop.
You go out this door and then you can get to the Flare Dancer. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if we're actually going to see that chest.
I mean, I know we had a great laugh when the final Treasure of Ice Cavern was a blue fire bottle, but
It's paid out.
You know, it really has come off.
I mean, it's paid out in the form of about 20 seconds.
Hey, you take those.
20 seconds are what seeds are made and broken by.
Yep. I know the time in the RSL finals match yesterday was decided by like 1 minute and 20 seconds, but again, that's, you know, these fine margins really do matter. Hell,
Fair, that seed was also only 37 minutes long, or something like that.
One of the group tiebreakers, you know, the three runners were separated by 90 seconds. Like that's unreal.
I lost my first Scrubs race by 59 seconds.
Did you have a toilet break in that?
Yeah, funnily enough, I had a toilet break that I timed afterwards at 1 minute and 11 seconds.
That
Shouldn't have
sucks.
timed it afterwards, but it's what I did.
One of those cases where it might be better not to know.
Yeah. Free piss agreement. You're so right, Drew. You're so right.
Oh my god. I knew that's what FPA stood for.
I've got it as a live split on mine, so I can guarantee when I have it.
I know.
I can time how well I do.
See, all this chat about where items go. Bottle goes on P. Everyone knows that. I'll show myself out.
Cranx in the DLC area. Very rare to see this outside of any set.
I thought you could just jump down from the hammer chest room.
Yeah, you can. Chuckles, this is where the Stalfos are in Master Quest.
What's Master Quest?
It's the one with all the Stalfos.
No puzzles, only Stalfos.
Yeah, there's a token on that wall you're looking at right now in Master Quest.
I thought that was Water Temple that was all Stalfos.
No, it's the entire game.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Water Temple has the most, but there's 2 Stalfos room in Fire, there's 2 in Forest, there's 3 in Water. You have to fight a Stalfos on a moving platform in Child Spirit, which is actually a very cool room. I like that one. And
Free the Gorons!
What is this chest? Is this another scale?
Show me iron boots. A double magic!
Yeah.
Is this going to be Cranx finally going into the well? He's going to check 20 first.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll actually see Cranx heading into ice before the finish.
I think we will. Or I hope we will, for his sake.
Depends on whether that's where they're going. It is. Fortunately, too late for this seed.
He just dodged it for far too long.
Yeah. I know there's not that many items in this cavern, but sometimes those 4 are better than any other option.
I'd still much rather be doing this over deep fire, especially when it's required only, so there's a chance you can't get to the top.
Yeah. And it's the problem with, if this was a meta game of, if it's in ice, I've lost, this is the problem with it. Don't get in your own head in a race, because you never know when your opponent is behind you.
Right. But in the meantime, get your GGs in chat. All we need to do is deliver the final blow. Once the sword gets warmed up. Tenacious Toad advances into your Challenge Cup semi-finals. A official racetime.gg time of 2 hours, 24 minutes and 43 seconds.
Right, I was muted. That was why you didn't hear me announce the time. And that is a forfeit on Cranx's side, and I believe that we're getting them both in for an interview in a second.
Yeah, I know as well that I should have mentioned this earlier, that this was also being restreamed in German. So we'll try and keep the interview with maybe a little bit snappier, so that Cranx can join both. Cranx, GG.
GG. It was a nice seat until I was missing one item.
It was less
did
missing
you
an
not get-
item or missing a hint.
Yeah.
Did you not find the ice to?
No, I never found that hint. Where was that?
It was in the first one was in the bombable wall in Crater, and the other one was in Colossus, so next to the Forest Temple.
Oh, yeah, okay. That one I shouldn't have skipped at least. Yeah, that would have helped.
It was unfortunate. It had both the long shot to get the bomb bag and the Kikiri sword in it. Welcome in, Toad. Good game.
GG.
GG's Toad. Yeah, I mean, Bombag wasn't too bad with Boomerang early.
Yeah, both of you got that nice and quickly, which was good. Toad, very impressed with the Goron pot with strength as well.
Yeah, Toad, we're very impressed with the
bottle. Did you?
No, the big Po in Deku was Cranx's first bottle, which
Yeah.
you had a bottle first. So
yeah, luckily I
Toad.
got that bomb bag, so I can go turn it in.
Yeah, so Toad, I will get this out the way before Chuckles gets to you. We were very impressed with your bomb bag. We were very impressed with your Ruto's letter. Take us through Dodongo's cavern.
Talk about. I was trying all the multiple setups multiple times. I just couldn't land it. I should have just left and went adult and did it.
Wait, did you do this as a child?
Yeah.
I was thinking about it if I ever get there, but yeah.
It was the bomb chew setup he was doing as child, which is slightly different.
Yeah, I thought it was the same. So as adult, because that's the adult.
You got little legs.
Yeah, that's the adult setup, and the child. I guess the child setup is over to the right more.
So I think a big
But I gotta
story in
find
this
the word.
seed is the sheer volume of stuff that isn't accessible.
Yeah, jeez. Like
Well's dead.
all of
Yeah,
Well and all
Well's
of
dead.
Shadow.
All of Well, all of Shadow, and all of Training Grounds. It's Training Grounds behind the Shadow
Oh,
entrance.
it was GTG. Okay.
And as far as we know, all of Water Temple as well, because we've not seen Iron Boots, and we did eventually find a scale in the Valley Waterfall, but we've not seen the other. So
Yeah, that was very nice. Not having to do so many locations.
So the crater to PG hint. I'm still confused about that.
It's either or, right? You need Sarias to get to Spirit, and you need Fire Arrows to do. I guess there wasn't a Fire Lock key, so it's basically Sarias to get to Spirit, and that's your crossing. Because you need to jump down from Spirit to get over.
Okay. I was just
Yeah, we've
thinking that maybe Lens was in Spirit somewhere, but I didn't full clear it.
we've not seen the lens, but considering
Okay.
there's what 11, 12, what,
it's
36
just your
items
standard,
in dungeons alone missing.
just your standard. Sorry, it's for forest access. Nothing weird about that at all.
Yeah, exactly. I was kind of expecting Forest to be there, and then I was like, Spirit, oh wait.
I think we were thinking it was forest there, and then it turned out to be Spirit. And you made use of the cut through to Colossus there really well. The downside is obviously that by doing that, you're right at the entrance, and it kind of didn't divert you around to check the hint stone behind.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
You played very different settings in all three games. Was there a particular set that you found you enjoyed more than the others, or was there, going into this draft, was there, okay, we've played this before, so I want to do it again, or I want to do something different?
I mean, the Triads was banned this time around, so I had to divert, and random songwalks is something I enjoy. And you left that open now. And I like to pair that with the required only.
Yeah, I like to do it different every race.
It was pretty fun to have the
It's-
three completely different seats.
Yeah, it's the RSL in me that likes that.
It's a combination that showed up a lot in Season 7, both Challenge Cup and the main bracket so far, Entrance Randomizer and Required Only, which has a big impact when you combine the two, as well as the random song warps. So
Yeah, random song warps is
really
insanely
good.
powerful.
Yeah. Although sometimes it means you don't have easy access to Deku. I know, are there any questions in the chat? I was waiting for people to make any comments, but nobody has, so I guess you've stunned them into silence.
Yeah.
Spoilers for people who haven't seen the results of Balnog versus Tensai, but Toad, have you had any early thoughts about your semi-final matchup?
Nope. I don't know their play, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. But I'll probably just do like I do and just pick whatever I feel like that day for playing.
Heck it, we ball.
You've got RSL and you use an RNG to pick your settings.
Yeah, use a wheel to pick the settings for the seed.
The wheels.
I know that the German restream crew wanted to do an interview as well, so we can let you go and leave it to HK to take us out.
Where's the... I don't remember any of the other commands, but thank you to both of the runners today. Thank you, Toad, and thank you, Cranx, for letting us restream this one today.
Yeah,
thank
really fun game.
Benjy, for helping. Yeah, thank you, Benjy, for helping me on comms today, and our trackers who made us look smart, like we know what we're doing. Blue Roses, Emerald Mousy, and Bronze Noob filling in the tracker sheets. And of course, to Hell Knight 86 for making sure all the things come up on screen for us.
Yeah, thanks for. I mean, a special thanks for Hell Knight, who was not going to be the original restreamer for this, but was able to step in yesterday to mean that we could get a restream of honestly a really fun game 3. Like both of you showed some really good tricks and like dungeon entrance randomizer, random songs, beatable only can be a proper like brain melt of settings at times, but I think they make for very fun seeds. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you for the restream.
Yep, thanks for the restream.
And GG again, Todd. Good luck on your next
GG,
round.
thanks. Thank you.
As noted in a message in the chat, but I'll say as well, our next race, the next restream coming up, is another quarterfinal, I believe, between Daredevil and HoloLogic. So that will be in 2 days, on the 22nd of March, Friday, at 3 p.m. UTC.